Yeah, there we go.
Oh, so I didn't say, just try camera.
So you just, or the camera, you just press here, and then that's the audio.
Oh.
Good morning, City of Johannesburg.
Good morning.
How are you?
We are okay, and you?
I'm good. You're speaking to Nosipo, the committee secretary.
Okay.
I'm just trying to check who will be flighting the presentation on your side. I can't get hold of Miss Hendricks right now.
I will flight it. I haven't connected. I'm going to connect now.
All right. No problem. Thank you.
I'll flight it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. What message is the camera giving?
They might have disabled the cameras.
Is it?
Let me see.
I don't know what settings.
This meeting is being recorded.
It's being recorded.
First, please select another video settings. Cannot start video. It's more likely that they might have disabled it.
No, we did not disable the cameras. You must control it on your side.
Not that, secretary.
I think it's fun. It can be outside. You just let me break it on this side.
Okay.
Okay. Where are you going to? To the what? No, come. It's really nice to take the pictures, but
Yes.
wait for them there.
Good morning, colleagues.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody present this morning. It's 8 o'clock, time for us to start our early morning meeting. Thank you for availing yourself for this important meeting to try and sort out the crisis in Johannesburg Water or in Johannesburg. And I really appreciate everybody on a very short notice to avail themselves for this meeting. I would request now that we have a moment of silent prayer or meditation. Thank you. Any apologies?
Good morning, Chairperson. There is an apology from Ms. Kihakilwe. She's traveling from Cape Town to home. She will join the meeting a bit later. That is all.
Thank you very much. Can I just see whether all the role players are here? Johannesburg Water, the MD. Is the MD present? Just indicate. Colleagues, can you all hear me?
I can see him, Chairperson. I'm not quite sure whether he just switched on and went away, but he's there. It's Mr.
I see him, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning to you, sir. And then the Mayor of Johannesburg. Is he present? Tumani?
Morning, Chairperson. I don't see him here, but
colleagues, can you just say what you
Hello, you're audible. We can hear you.
Mic is on.
It's really on.
can you maybe
Started.
colleagues, can we just ask, we've already started the meeting. Can I confirm again, is the mayor of Johannesburg on this Zoom meeting?
He is not Chairperson, and I did not get an apology.
Chairperson, my hand is raised. I think if we want to have
I
an
will
orderly
come to you.
meeting.
I
Thank
will
you.
come to you. I'll come to you. Thank you. Colleagues, this is a serious matter that we are here today. Can we get any confirmation whether he's going to be late, a little bit late, or what the situation is? Yes, MD?
What?
I'm not sure whether now we are unmuted this side.
Can you hear us?
We can hear you. You can continue.
Oh, so sorry, we didn't. Sorry, Chair, and good morning. It's Nchaweni Mukwebo speaking from Johannesburg Water. We didn't hear the question. We're still trying to get the audio right.
All right. So I thank you that you are present. I'm asking, where is the mayor of Johannesburg?
The mayor is right here.
The mayor is with you. Could the mayor just maybe he could maybe just respond to that he is there? Thank you very much. Colleagues, Honorable Reddy, before I start, we haven't got a lot of time. I'll give you quickly.
No, I'm covered. I'm covered. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Colleagues, we will not request you to do a presentation. We have received your presentations. We are pressurized for time. So what we are going to do, we're going to give the department 5 minutes, Rand Water 5 minutes, and then Joburg will give you 5 minutes to make a short presentation, and the committee will then go into questioning. And I really plead now with the committee members to stick to their questions, not make statements. Let's deal with the problem and see how we can resolve the problem in Johannesburg, so that we can give the opportunity to the mayor, to the MD of Johannesburg Water, and then department, the minister, give them the opportunity to answer those questions. I also I forgot to welcome the minister and all officials of the department, and also officials of Johannesburg Water and from the mayor's office. Welcome at this meeting this morning. With that said, I am going to ask that the minister makes quick remarks, and then let's go then into the business of the day. And I really request that we, from the department side and the responses, that it is short, to the point, and not drag out to a sound. Thank you very much. Minister, over to you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Thank you very much. Good morning to all honorable members of this portfolio committee, the deputy ministers, mayor of the City of Johannesburg, and the city manager, the Rand Water Chair and CE, Joburg Water. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, we'll save you time. We are going to be very brief because the presentations are for the other entities. We are gathered here today, Chair, as you have invited us, at a time when the demand for water in Gauteng has been growing rapidly, not only because of population growth, but also because of significant losses in water distribution system, aging infrastructure, and increased pressures from climate variability as well as drought. Currently, Johannesburg residents are enduring significant water supply disruption. We have met several times with the city just to find out exactly what is happening around the city. Many areas, including Westbury, Westdean, Coronationville, amongst others, have experienced complete water outages. The situation has led to widespread frustration of residents, which led to protests across Johannesburg. While the City of Johannesburg is the water service authority for its area, we all have roles to play to ensure water security, reliable and equitable access. Honorable Chair and honorable members, this requires more than bulk water supply. It demands efficient use of water, infrastructure that is in good condition, both in treatment, storage, pumping, as well as distribution. Those are the critical factors that will make Johannesburg to have water to all its citizens, as well as close coordination amongst all players, national, provincial, as well as local. Today's presentation, Chair, will seek to provide just an overview on this status. As I finish off, Chair, the limits on extraction of raw water from integrated Vals river system. This means, okay, that means we must supply under current hydrological conditions. The root cause of supply disruptions, including demand exceeding the supply in many instances, as well as load shedding, breakdowns, and old infrastructure. Might not say load shedding, may say load reduction, but it does one and the same in terms of the capacity to pump water. The unacceptable levels of non-revenue, leaks, unbilled and unpaid water, especially physical losses, and what these losses mean to water security, finances, as well as reliability. There is a need for investment, not only in bulk infrastructure, but especially in municipal distribution infrastructure, reservoirs, pumping storage capacity, especially in high-lying areas underserved during the interruptions. So these are some main contributors of people not having water in Johannesburg. How improved coordination and accountability across national, provincial, red water, Joburg water, and municipal level must be strengthened. We do this not because of the sake of this meeting, Chair. We've been meeting with Johannesburg. We know their plans, but we know also the shortcoming and the challenges when it comes to infrastructure. I'm looking forward, Chair, to the committee and other stakeholders present here to say, how do we work together to ensure that we attend to this? I thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I then hand over to the before we go to the department, can I maybe give the opportunity just for the executive mayor quickly, maybe just to have a 5-minute speech on this matter or enlighten the committee on the challenges they have, and then we'll go into the department's presentations quickly. Over to you, Executive Mayor. You are muted.
Thank you, Chair, Honorable Person, to the members of the committee, and of course to the Minister. Let's take this opportunity to welcome the engagement this morning, whereas we know that you've already presented yourselves with the presentation and the report on the matters that we're going to engage on. We do appreciate the fact that you've been given this opportunity to present to the members and clearly give them the status report on what are we doing in terms of the current challenges and what interventions we're putting in place. So we will then take that opportunity at that point, Chairperson, when given the opportunity to present on the report, key interventions that we're doing. So we will probably make use of the 5 minutes at that point, but do appreciate the committee having convened us to give a clear update on the interventions we are doing. And thank you very much once more for the opportunity.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Can we now go to the department for a short presentation? DG?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning, Chair, honourable members, Minister and Mayor, all protocol observed. Chairperson, I will be very short as you requested. Our presentation has been provided and I'll take it as read. I want to start on slide 5, which is the causes of the water supply disruptions that are being experienced in Gauteng and Johannesburg in particular. As indicated by the Minister, the underlying cause is that the demand for treated water from Rand Water by the Gauteng municipalities is now sometimes exceeding the available supply. The demand-supply relationship is very tight, and this makes the system vulnerable to disruptions, as indicated by the Minister. And when such disruptions occur, it takes a very long time for the water levels in the reservoirs to recover. The key point, Chairperson, is that Rand Water is supplying sufficient water to Gauteng municipalities to meet their needs if they were to reduce the leaks in their distribution systems and invest more in their distribution infrastructure, including storage and pumping capacity. Next slide. All the municipalities in Gauteng need to focus on reducing their leaks. The leaks on average in the Gauteng municipalities are approximately 33%, including in Johannesburg. That means that about 1/3 of the water that they obtain from Rand Water is lost through leaks in the distribution system. Next slide. In addition to fixing the leaks, the municipalities need to invest in their distribution infrastructure, including storage and pumping capacity, so that their distribution systems are more resilient and so that they're not so prone to water supply disruptions when certain disruptions such as electrical supply disruptions occur, which will always occur. Next slide, please. In addition to these measures which need to be taken on the supply side, it's also necessary for demand side measures to be implemented. The average consumption per capita of water in Gauteng is much higher than the international average. And that is unsustainable, given that Gauteng is a water scarce area, like all of South Africa. And there's a need to reduce the average consumption per capita in Gauteng, in all the municipalities in Gauteng, including Johannesburg. Next slide. Then we go to slide 9, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And then finally, institutional reform is also required. And in this regard, the Council of the City of Johannesburg has approved a water and sanitation turnaround plan as required by the reform of Metropolitan Trading Services Programme. We've assessed that plan. We think it is a very good quality turnaround plan, appropriate. It contains everything that needs to be done to address the situation. And if the plan is implemented, it will result in the required improvement in water and sanitation service delivery in the city. The plan includes measures to improve operations and maintenance, including improving leak repair, as well as ambitious plans for capital investment in municipal distribution infrastructure, including the required additional storage and pumping capacity. We were very encouraged that Johannesburg Water was allocated an increased budget by the city to implement the plan, and that it appointed contractors to work on the key projects related to strengthening the distribution infrastructure in the city. However, we are concerned that many of the projects have since come to a halt, and some of the contractors have stopped work or left site because they have not been paid by Johannesburg Water. And this is because Joburg Water does not have the money to pay them, because part of its budget has been swept from its account by the city and not put back. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I ask that Rand Water quickly bring their presentation? Rand Water?
Yes, Chair, from my side, we are not able to share.
Can we share that presentation from our side, please? Mr. Masai, can I ask you just to speak to your presentation whilst we're trying to get that done?
Yes, good morning, Chair.
You are co-host now if you want to share, but speak on your presentation.
Yes, good morning, Chair. I'm joined by the chairperson of Rainwater and the board members. I acknowledge you and the portfolio committee members. I acknowledge the minister, the executive mayor, and because of time, I'll observe protocol. I think in terms of my presentation, given that I have 5 minutes, all I will do is to quickly plug in the numbers because I think the background information has been shared from the DG's presentation. Talk about the status now in terms of that supply, the numbers coming from Johannesburg in terms of their consumption, and really go back to the recommendations that we have made. The DG slide talk about the limitations of the abstraction license. At this point in time, we are averaging at about 5,100 million liters against the 4,940. And as he indicated in his presentation, I think we've been fortunate enough that the system has yielded a little bit more water. We are operating with a temporary license. On average, that number is at equilibrium. But of course, it's quite tight now. And as a result of these numbers, we're not able to put more water into the system. In this slide, I just indicate what the impact is on the ability of rainwater to store water for the municipalities as a result of the challenges that have been mentioned, clearly articulated by the DG. When we hit peak demands, you'll see the water that we store in the reservoirs completely and very quickly diminishes, which creates a problem from both ends. From our end, if we're hit by electromechanical challenge, cable theft or anything, the system immediately catches flu as it sneezes. But you'll see, although the reservoirs are dropping, we're still putting more water into the system. And we believe that the factors that have been articulated by DG are the ones that are really causing this quick drop. Some municipalities also depend on the volumes of water in the reservoir. So if abstraction is abnormally high, it does affect the ability to rely on our gravity from our end, and then the need to make those investments in the part of the value chain becomes heightened. The top part of the slide talks about where the consumption is in relation to what the license should be. You'll see already Gauteng is abstracting more than the required license, just barely makes it into the temporary license. The second part of the slides talk.
Sorry, Mr. Masai, my apology for interrupting you. Can I ask you just to switch on your camera and then also ask all members speaking after you to switch on your camera? We have got a lot of media on here, and it is also streamed live at the moment. So my apology for that, but if we can do that, it would be appreciated.
I hope you can see me, Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much. You can continue now.
Yes, let me just see if I can get the. Okay. Chairperson, I was just hopping along to the next part of this slide. So what we do with all the municipalities, with the allocation that we have, we allocate quotas in terms of how much each municipality can withdraw from the reservoirs. This is really the quota of the City of Johannesburg. Joburg Water specifically, by far the largest water withdrawals or clean drinking water withdrawals from our reservoir is taken by the City of Johannesburg. In terms of the licenses, ID license that we have with the department, the city should be abstracting between 1,003 and 1,004 megaliters of water a day, with a temporary license just slightly north of 1,500 megaliters of water a day. This graph indicates that the abstracting currently more than that at about 1,700. And then ideally, this number must really come down so that we are able to store water, enough water into the system, but it can also benefit from the reservoir levels to supply the high-lying areas, because those areas are dependent on the water consumption. So I think that's what needs to happen going forward. Just quickly, in terms of the resolution, I think the DG covers this. Our belief is that the recommendations that have been made by various reports, including the NODROP report of 2023, National Water Resource Strategy of 2003, National Water Resources Strategy of 2013-2023, and all the resolutions that have been taken from the IGR should be implemented. I have shared those in the presentation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I now give the opportunity to Johannesburg Water? Honourable Reddy, before we go to questions, is it urgent that you need to speak now?
No, not at all. It was a mistake, actually. Sorry about that, Chair.
Right. Can we go to Johannesburg Water?
Thanks, Chair. I'm trying to share the presentation, but I'm unable. If the host can assist me to be able to share from my side.
Can we make him a co-host, Nosipho? Nosipho, can we make Johannesburg Water
You can try again.
Yes, Chairperson, I am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning, honourable members of the committee, Minister, Executive Mayor, Deputy Ministers, Chairpersons of the board, and board members. I'm not really going to take time, Chair, because of course we've indicated time pressure. I'm just going to focus on few slides really that indicate our challenges, and not really talk about the broader challenges that have been covered around the water supply in Johannesburg. So key things that we need to deal with, Chair and honourable members, is the issue of the non-revenue water, which is high, and non-revenue water really it's sitting at 44.8, and that 44.8 losses is 32.9. which is really this is the water that we lose either through pipes and other infrastructure, as well as commercial losses. So that's the area that our work is trying to respond to. Secondly, is to acknowledge that we have a challenge that we need to proceed on dealing with it. This is the challenge of what we refer to deemed area or prepayment meter area. This is the area where 40% of the consumption of the city of Johannesburg goes into this area. And unfortunately, it's an area that we're still struggling really to get the culture of payment right. There's a high level of illegal connection in those areas. The fourth issue is the infrastructure backlog, which we need really to deal with the issue of infra renewal, which is currently sitting at 27 billion rand. Looking at the existing infrastructure that needs to be dealt with. Of course, another key issue is the population growth, which really puts strain in the overall system because the investment has not really been done to match the actual growth that happens. So at a high level, we have a water demand management strategy, water demand management strategy, focusing on all the necessary key components. We starting with our reservoirs that we need to refurbish. There's issues of PRV and so on. So this strategy really, there are two slides there that members have seen that covers all the items that we are dealing with in terms of water demand management. So it's an area that we as an entity, together with the city, we need to be putting more resources on this. An example, pipe replacement. If you look at this year, we are aiming to do 85 kilometers, which is going to be an improvement from roughly the 20 kilometer, the 25 kilometer that were done last year. But of course, it's not yet where it's supposed to be, because ideal each year we're supposed to be replacing about 186 kilometers. So this water conservation, water demand management plan, what is required is more really carry on putting more resources so that we can be able to take the demand down. So my other area that I want to just talk to, we chair and honorable members, we have been doing some intensive work around water demand management. And this we started last year this time, and it is what assisted us to be able to take the demand down from 1,800. You can see on this green line, last year this time, demand for Joburg was 1,800 megaliters per day. It's now gone down to about 1,700. And this is the work that we need to carry on doing. And of course, even do more around the water conservation, water demand management, so that we can be able to see that line going down, eventually getting down to 1,550. The other final thing that I want to talk about is the issue of the turnaround plan, Chair, which the turnaround plan, it was approved by Council in July last year. And this turnaround plan is part of the overall National Treasury Trading Service reforms. And the key issues, the turnaround plan acknowledges that historically we have not been investing at the correct pace. You can be able to see that if you look at our overall assets profile, we have the assets with remaining useful life of less than 10 years or up to 10 years is only 20% of our assets, which simply means that in the next 10 years, including what is residing in the backlog, these are things that we need to deal with. And of course, as I said, we acknowledge that historically we have not been investing correctly. The top graph here that you see there talks about renewal in terms of how it has been done before. And we need to get to the red line. And these are the things that we need to be correcting going forward, aiming to make sure that we're investing at the right pace. So the 10-year plan, Chair and members of the committee, is really focusing more on the investment of 32.5 billion. And this 32.5 billion is going to be 33% of it is going to the both water and sewer network infrastructure. We are looking at 30% going to the treatment works, but 4 billion of that will be going to the water demand management, with, of course, more than 60% planned for the first 4 years. So the key issue also, we've seen that as part of the turnaround plan, which is the year that we are in now, 25-26 is the first year, at least the budget has started increasing to try and respond to that plan of 32.5 billion over 10 years, where in the current year, we are investing 1.7 billion in all various categories of assets. It's a way of trying to start getting to that journey of 32.5 billion. So we believe that, Chair, as indicated also by the DG, that the turnaround plan that has been approved by Council, we believe that if really implemented fully, including funding it completely, which will be able to take us forward. And we've shared a slide which indicates the funding a model that we have looked at in terms of that 32.5 billion. And I must indicate as I conclude, Chair, that there are other projects as well, or initiatives to stabilize the overall system, which of course they'll be happening outside that 32.5 billion, where we are looking at alternative methods, approach like PPP, approach like non-performance-based contracts in terms of the non-revenue water, where together with GTEC, transitional advisors have been appointed, really looking at the issue of packaging projects that can be done in the city of Johannesburg to reduce non-revenue water without us necessarily putting resources on those where we can be able to pay for that upon seeing the returns. Thank you very much, Chair. I'll end here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we go into questions, there's 4 things that I take away from this presentation is that as the DG has indicated also, and yourself, you've got a good plan, a turnaround strategy plan, but you've got challenges. You cannot pay contractors, and there is a lot of allegations. And I don't think it's just allegations. I have seen some information that you are swept from your cash so that you can't pay these contractors, and then you've got this 33% water loss. But I will now allow the members to ask questions. I really plead with members, don't make statements, please. Let's move into questions. We've got to get to the bottom of this and see how we can assist the residents of Johannesburg to get water. I'm starting with Honorable Reddy and then Kegakilwe. Colleagues, what I just want to try and do somewhere along the line is that we would like to get Honorable Makahula also to get her questions if she's got questions, because the person that needs to assist with the translation has got to leave at 10 o'clock. So if you will allow me, I will, if she's got a question, I will just slot her in between the other members just to give the opportunity for the person that is doing the translation to leave for the 10 o'clock plenary. Honorable Reddy, you may start, and then it's Honorable Kegakilwe.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister, Deputy Minister, and to all the presenters. Let me just be frank about this.
Honorable Reddy,
Yes.
my
Yes.
apology. Could you just put on your camera?
Oh no, that's going to be a disaster. I'm not ready for this meeting now. It's quite early in the morning.
We
So
want to see you. Come. We want to see you ready.
no. You're going to get
Honorable
scared.
Reddy, you should be ready, but if you can't, then just continue, please.
It will scare you if you see me now at this like this. Chairperson, I think let's first thank everyone for coming. I think it's important, and that you quite correctly mentioned that we are in a crisis here. So let's deal with the crisis. Residents are looking and at what we're going to propose that's going to deal with their situation right now. And when I look at all the problems that has been highlighted, the problems that has been highlighted is something that cannot be dealt with overnight. It's something that can you see my face now? Is that fine? Are you okay? It's me.
But close close that chest a little bit. No, man.
All right. So anyway, now, Chairperson, what I want to suggest is, firstly, has the team, and this should be led by the Water Board, because a similar situation arose in eThekwini in KZN, and we did this. We worked with the minister at that time and the deputy minister, and he's familiar with this. We had what is called an emergency crisis response team. That why we say emergency, it's because you're dealing with issues that's taking place right now. Residents want to get answers now. Are they going to get water in the tap? And when I look at one of the presentations here, it says that we're going to start introducing water restrictions. I don't think that should be the solution. We should find other ways of doing it. I mean, we can't deal with the issues of non-revenue water, collapsing infrastructure and all of that overnight. You would find that where contractors are involved, right, and where payments to contractors are involved, this is where the corruption comes in. Because I find that where you get a contractor, especially someone from the outside, doing work with the municipality, Mr. Mayor, please take note of this. What they do is they sabotage the infrastructure. And this is where you get this mafia, tanker mafia. Who benefits when there's a water crisis? Just look at who benefits the most. It's the water tankers. So they would make sure that there's disruptions. They'll make sure that water, that whatever you're attempting to do to fix pipes, those pipes get broken, valves will get destroyed. You'll find these things happening. So an emergency crisis response team, it accepts that there's an emergency, there's a crisis, and that there has to be a response. Where the team comes in, it involves all role players, which will be the water board, the municipality, the department, and communications. You see, communities are very organized these days. In every street, every road, they got a WhatsApp group. And it's important that the correct information from one communication source is sent out on a daily basis. The Deputy Minister Mashlobo will confirm, because he used to chair this crisis team that we had in eThekwini, and it worked exceptionally well. We would meet every morning through a Zoom meeting. We will get feedback from the municipality. We'll get feedback from the board and on progress that's being made. We even, at some stages, even got the police involved, where we suspected that there were criminals that were going out and vandalizing our equipment. We got the police involved. We started to ring fence those strategic infrastructure that could be damaged. And we managed to get this situation resolved very quickly. But most importantly, Chair, we were able to keep constant contact with communities and give them updates regularly. You know, communities, what they don't want necessarily a solution now, but they want to know that all of us here are playing our part in resolving the crisis, that we take this matter seriously enough, and that we're standing with them on this. The next thing we do is we do not play this game of handing this thing from a distance. We go out to communities. We become proactive. Where we know that there's going to be wide-scale water cuts, I want to go with my minister there. Pemi, I want to take her and go with me. We go there. Let's speak to the communities. Let's assure them. Let's explain to them what is going on. Let them understand it, and then you'll find that you will not get tensions on the ground that will lead into protests and that kind of thing. Thank you. And I'm not going to ask members to go to DA wards and learn from them. Thank you very much.
You start.
I'm done, Chair.
Thank you very much. There was no questions, it was recommendations. Can we then go on to Honorable Kegakilwe?
Thank you, Chair. I am driving, but my first question is, what is it that both Joburg Water and Joburg City wants us to do as a portfolio committee to assist them with this crisis of water? And the issue of the IGRs, they are all very good. And I just want to find out, why are they not implemented? If they are properly or fully implemented, then the problem of water in Joburg will be resolved. And then lastly, the issue of reducing the daily consumption. There's a conflicting statements between the department and Joburg, or I'm not sure if it is Rand Water or Joburg Water, because somewhere they've stated that they are compelled to reduce the daily consumption, whereas the departmental presentation is saying they've increased the daily consumption. If I can be clarified as to that conflicting statement. Thank you, Chair. Comrade.
Thank you very much. Joburg Water.
Honorable Chair,
thanks,
I'm sorry, Honorable Chair. There's a hand of Honorable There's another hand from the chat. She has explained. He has put a message that his hand is up, but also on the system the hand is up.
Yes, I that is fine, but there was now a question, and we need a response from Rand Water on the question. We deal with it as we've dealt with it in the past. I will deal with Honorable Ramaila when we get to that. Joburg Water,
Thank
can you
you.
respond to that, please?
Thank you, Chairperson. Thanks, Chairperson, Honorable Passon. I thought I should note first. Thank you, Chairperson, Honorable Passon. And perhaps I thought I should respond to some of the issues raised by Honorable Reddy, which in essence is addressing the real issues that we are also responding to. At this stage, the city, together with Joburg Water, has now procured 20 water tankers with an intention to phase out the outsourcing of that particular program on water tankers in view of trying to reduce the risks associated with water tankers and mafias and possibly infrastructure being sabotaged. So that's the program. We have done 20 now and will later be adding another 20, which will then assist us as and when there's interventions on interruptions that may be required. And I think on the question raised by Honorable Kekhatilwe, I'll ask the MD just to deal with those matters because it's an issue about how the allocation of rent water vis-a-vis the current situation, which is quite a bit technical, but he will then respond to that part. CEO, if you can come in on that one.
Thank you very much, EM and the Chairperson. I'm sure I just want to explain this graph that I've shared here. My presentation really, due to time, focuses on only this graph, which is showing that in terms of the green line, we were at that peak 1,800 in a year back, and now we are just under 1,700. I just want to go to the next graph, which is really, this graph was also part of the pack submitted to the committee. This is the graph informed by, or basically it's a graph that was provided by Rainwater at the feedback session. This was provided on the 13th, which is really maps the previous graph that were done by Joburg Water, which both graphs you can be able to see that this one here is looking at a 3-year consumption, whereby from year 1, which is 22 to 23 financial year, consumption was going up when it peaked even in 23 and 24. This is the period that we're consuming 1,800 megaliters per day. And then, of course, from 24, 25 financial year, this is where we are seeing demand, even on the rainwater side, going down in terms of their data, which, of course, is in line with the graph that I've shown to the committee earlier. And I must indicate this really information here is informed by the actual data that's collected on a monthly basis or the bills that is done from Rainwater billing us. And it's really reflecting what has been happening in the last year, where indeed the consumption went down by 100 megaliters year on year. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. There was a question on the how do you want the committee to assist you? Do you have any response on that?
My response, Chair, is that the committee indeed can assist us in terms of really the support that we require around making sure that the strategy that we have, we are implementing it. I think we've indicated ourselves, including the DG, that the plan is there and it's very clear and it's a sound plan. So I think we will appreciate if the committee can provide that support by working with us, by making sure that whenever committee is doing its work, it's able really to be making sure that even the constituents or the residents understand that what we have is something that will be able to take us forward. And the only thing, of course, is the implementation that must just happen. And I think the voice of the committee can go a long way by making sure that everybody understands this is the plan that will be able to take us forward. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Honorable Reddy, you got a response, and I think it is a positive response. So I will not then ask you to comment on that because you didn't ask a question. Honorable Kegakilwe, are you satisfied with the responses that you received?
No, Chair. The last question I ask is with regard to the implementation of the IGR by Rand Water. What is why are they not implementing them? Because if they can implement those things, our problem will be resolved. Unless they can say they've just decided to write them, they are still going to implement. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Rand Water.
Honorable, if you allow us to come in there, I think we had missed the question, and I think we are implementing the recommendations as part of the IT. I was muted. Thanks, Honorable.
Yeah, we have heard.
If you allow me, Chair.
Continue.
Thank you, Chair. And we had missed that question from Honorable Kegakilwe. And perhaps to respond, we are implementing the recommendations. Part of the recommendations include issues around illegal connections so that we deal aggressively with disconnections. And I think we've been doing that program. At times we are challenged by the resistance from the communities, but we're doing as much as we can in terms of the issues around illegal connection. We're also doing work in relation to pipe replacement, which we've indicated. We're also doing work in terms of public awareness. We might not necessarily be very strong on that, but we're trying to increase on public awareness to educate constantly the community around consumption, and taking care of the water and payment about the water and all sorts of issues. We're doing also meters roll out in some areas so that we can start dealing with issues of managing the revenue. So there is work that's being done, and we will indicate as we continue to report through the IGR sessions. Where are we on particular interventions that we are doing? We've had very strong discussions with Rand Water on the matter, and all of us have agreed that Johannesburg has to accelerate on the implementation of those recommendations. Alex, the CEO would like to add one or two issues.
Thanks, Chair. Just to add on this issue, I think there is work happening already around the IGR coordination. I'm sure my colleagues from Rand Water, they can come in. There is daily discussion where a meeting which is really chaired by Rand Water every day with all three metros and DWS sitting there to really coordinate on daily basis what we need to do to manage the overall system. And I must say, in my view, this work that happened daily, it is what really assisting us a lot. Because otherwise, if there were no this daily coordination, which is driven from Rand Water, pulling all municipalities on daily basis every morning, 8 o'clock, probably the situation could have been worse. And above that, of course, there is also a session that we sit on every Wednesday, which is looking at the issue of water with the MEC for Cocta, where Rand Water also sits there, and all other municipalities, not only Metro, where really even the implementation of the recommendation from the various meetings that have happened before, that's where it gets coordinated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can I then go to Honorable Kobe?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much. Good morning to the department, Rand Water, and the City of Johannesburg, the mayor, and the team that's with him from Johannesburg Water. Thank you for the presentations, short as they were, but we were given sufficient opportunity to go through them. I think, Chair, what's important here is, to note that Johannesburg is fast approaching day zero. We are fast approaching day zero with it. And I think that the City of Joburg and the mayor so far hasn't done a sufficient work in terms of communicating and driving that message across to communities. I think just last week, the mayor promised people, the residents of Coronationville, Westville, that they'll receive water in 7 days. That hasn't happened yet. I'd like an explanation from the mayor. Why would he make such a promise, especially given that our issues are so complex? We know the issues of infrastructure are much more prolonged than that. They are protracted in nature, and you can't make short-term promises. But why did the mayor make that promise? For me, that's a huge concern. It shows that we have a problem with communicating the realities to our people, and also our residents are also not given a clear picture in terms of demand, what they need to do on their side. So I think the city needs to do a better job in terms of communicating and prioritizing the issue of day zero, because Johannesburg is fast approaching that. I don't want to reiterate what the president said, but maybe lessons should be drawn. We have had the situation before in another city, and it can be drawn. I just need to ask, Chair, my question is for the water pipe replacements. So the water pipe network is 85 kilometers that needs replacement, and that's the annual target. But as of August, we're sitting at 3.2 kilometers. Now, how does City of Joburg plan on really augmenting that gap, filling that gap, bridging that gap? And what still needs to be done? We are in September now. Where are we in terms of, the pipe replacement? Also, Chair, the capacity of Joburg Water, I think that, the minister did make mention that the Joburg Water has presented them with plans, and they're happy with these plans of a turnaround strategy. But we need to really ask if Joburg Water has the capacity to really carry this out. Admittedly, in their presentation, they did talk about, the lack of skills, or the way they need to capacitate their departments. Have they done a skills audit? How far are they? Do they need technical support in that regard? And what are they doing to fill those issues? Yes, Chair, the technical capacity, and also, Chair, in terms of the customer meter replacement, the Joburg Water is insourcing this and also outsourcing it. What parts are being outsourced? And also, could those not then be insourced so that Joburg Water can have enough money that they can then redirect to infrastructure investment that they so desperately need? Chair, I think that is all from my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can I go to Joburg Water?
Chair, sorry, just one more question. I think it's as it relates to the illegal connections and the 40% of the townships that we have seen that primarily are involved in illegal connections. As it stands right now, the equitable share that City of Joburg is giving to Joburg Water has a mismatch between the amount they receive and the residents that should receive part of indigent support. For me, my question is, most of these communities are low or medium income earning. And once you start dealing with the issue of legal connections, and you find out that you have a bigger bulk of people who are unable to afford services, how will you then start augmenting or bridge the gap between the equitable share that you receive from City of Johannesburg and the amount that you should be giving to residents to really ensure that they receive services, even if they can, to low income earning households? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that. Joburg Water?
Perhaps thanks, Chairperson of this committee, Honorable Passon, and perhaps to respond to Honorable Gobe. The issue in relation to Westbury, when we went to Westbury 7 days ago, there was absolutely no water, which meant certain interventions had to be taken by the leadership of the city, and decisive decisions had to be made. And part of the decision we made was that in 7 days, we should ensure that the broader part of the area do receive water. And that's a commitment that government should be able to do, and which meant working with Joburg Water to ensure that water is supplied. The day after we had left the area, we started realizing an improvement in as far as supply of water in the area. So between the 7 days that we had committed, there was a lot of improvement that was experienced by the communities. Even yesterday, in a public meeting with communities, they did confirm that indeed improvement was witnessed, and that is why there were no more protests in the area, precisely because leadership had confronted the problem and brought about solutions in the area. There are other interventions that we are looking at between yesterday and on Monday. We will then be implementing some of the strategies that will help us to ensure that there's at least full supply everywhere, including in the flats and the high-lying areas, which the high-lying areas has been a bit of a challenge, but with the interventions that we did, we were able to do so. With the high pressure on the Crosby line, which we are trying to do something around it, we should be able to supply sufficient water to the area. So that's leadership that had to make certain decisions to ensure that we push our departments and our entities to respond to the challenges of our people in the area. So it was an important statement to have been made by the executive mayor. Otherwise, leadership can't just sit and not make decisive decisions. In relation to day zero, we are looking as part of the IGR decisions that with summer coming, we are going to see a high consumption, and therefore we have to implement certain levels, including level 1 restriction to ensure that we can push consumption down. So those are part of the strategies as contained in the IGR. We do communicate on a daily basis, even with the communities in Westbury. There was a daily communication through messaging, which also included the public meetings that we are doing. The weakness that we may have, of course, is in terms of how do we ensure that those messages do reach customers, because some customers would argue that they don't reach or receive the messages when we use the platforms of councillors, we use the platforms of community WhatsApps as we communicate in those particular areas, what challenges are there and what we are doing in resolving their challenges. So it's an ongoing work that we continue to do. Included there, to also do press conferences. We also do interviews where we also ask the CEO to also present in those press conferences. So there is action that we are taking. In terms of continuous capacitation of the organization, it's an ongoing program. Depending on that particular point, what we need to recruit on, we do recruit. I think 3 months ago, because we were faced with the issues of leaks, we were also recruiting about 100 plumbers or so, or just around that number. So as and when there's needs that are part of our plan, and our plan then informs us what type of skills and capacity we do need at that particular interval. We're not necessarily worried about skills. We don't think there's a skills gap or a skills shortage. It could be an issue around at what point do we want to fill those particular posts as and when we need the necessary skills. So we do that. Illegal connections remain a problem, Honorable Kobe. It's a big problem in Johannesburg. You have seen the expansion of informal settlements, which is mushrooming much quicker than we can deal with it in Johannesburg, which is contributing massively to illegal connections. And we have taken a view, as you'll see in the presentation, that part of the work we are doing is to start to do interventions in terms of boreholes, especially in the informal settlements. In that way, it will help us to deal with illegality, to deal with illegal connection, and of course, to a large extent, manage and control the consumption of water in Johannesburg. Historically, areas like Soweto have always been on what is called deemed consumption. And there's been a rollout of prepaid meters, and at some point, there's a Piri case which went right up to the Constitutional Court, which to a large extent delayed the rollout of meters, because the intention of meters was therefore one, measure the consumption, two, to be able to get residents to pay for the service that they are receiving. So that program of rolling out of meters is ongoing and is continuing area by area. I think we're concluding areas like Orlando East, Mzimhlophe currently as part of rolling out prepaid meters. In that way, it will help us to deal with consumption. It will help us to deal with the loss of water that we are losing. So we have to turn around deemed consumption areas by rolling out. So there is a challenge in terms of illegal connection, but over and above, we're also now witnessing in some of the affluent areas bypassing of meters, which is creating a bit of a problem. But at least from time to time, we're able to pick up on those meters that have been bypassed, and we are then able to intervene, especially on the business side. So a lot of businesses have been bypassing meters, and we've been able to catch them and issue them with the fines. So work is being done to deal with illegal connection. I think I'll end my response there, and the CEO will add on whatever I might have left out.
Thank you, EM. Honorable members, I'll start with the issue around the pipe replacement. Our financial year started 1 July. It was our plan that in Q1, we will be going through all the necessary preparation of allocating the work to our panel of contractors, so that when we get to Q2, we can start seeing those numbers coming through. So we are in the process of finalizing the allocation, where we are. Our target is to allocate about 118 kilometers, which includes some of the work that will be going into next financial year. And we are very confident that as we move into Q2, we'll start seeing those numbers coming through of the pipe replacement, and we will get to 85 kilometers that we are aiming for by the end of the financial year. And I just want to add as well on the issue of the skills. You'll have seen in the presentation, the last slide that talks about also partnership. That as we are taking this new path of the turnaround strategy, one of the things that we're embracing is partnership. And we have also above really the process of capacity in the organization through filling vacancies and so on. And we have also partnered with the likes of DBSA to assist us in terms of really certain areas, especially because you'll notice that historically, we were implementing project to a certain level, and now we are expecting projects really to be able to move to a much higher level in terms of the value, which really need to make sure that as much as we are bringing our own skills internally, but we need to make sure that we have this additional capacity that comes through a partnership. On the issue of the insourcing and outsourcing of the meter. So if you look at the functions around meters, which issues of meter reading, issues of maintenance of meter, we use hybrid. And that hybrid that we use, we have our teams internally that really looks at the issue of maintenance of meter. We have our teams internally that looks at reading of the meters on monthly basis. However, the amount of work that we need to do much more at this point than what our team can handle. That's when we're able to mobilize also the external service provider to assist us when now we're dealing with certain volume. But that hybrid model, it helps also because in certain areas we find that sometimes it's better to send the contractors simply because we may be having certain challenges as an entity around certain communities. So we in the teams that we have internally, we have many teams that are able really to focus on this. But of course, because of the volume that we have, that's why we are bringing contractors at this present moment. The last comment that I just want to add on about the EM is on the issue around the 40% that goes to township, especially commenting on the issue of indigent. We, of course, as we do our work on a daily basis, together with our social development department, we really encourage communities, those that believe that they are part of the indigent and that qualifies in terms of the criteria of the City of Johannesburg, to come forward so that we can be able to support them. Because 2 years back or so, the council really revised even the ESP policy in terms of water, where we're able to allocate up to 15 kiloliters per month per household. So we always say to residents, please, if you qualify, come forward. And we have open days and so on, where we're trying to assist and encourage residents to come through, because our view is that if the whole community is not affording, it's better to have them on indigent register rather than them going into legal connection, because it complicates things for us. Thank you very much.
There was a question on the funding that's not matching.
So, sorry, I might have missed that question.
It was the mismatch.
The honourable member said that it seems that your funding is not matching. But I still don't. I don't see we get to the gist of the problem that contractors are not paid. But I believe some of the members will then maybe come up with a question concerning that, because that is the short-term problem that can be addressed, and it seems that we are all, not running away from that problem, but the fact is that if it is true that contractors has left side, then it needs to be addressed, and I want that to be addressed here today. But can you maybe just speak to the funding and the not matching of your funding against your projects? Thank you.
Chair, I'm sorry to disrupt. I'm traveling. I'm in transit to Polokwane, so I might not have chance to ask a question. Would I please have a privilege now?
Yeah, you are. You can continue.
Thank you, Chair. Like I'm at the airport, I might not want to show other people around.
Honourable
Chair, if I may.
Give me an opportunity. We're still busy. I have indicated that you'll be after Honourable Moore. I can slot you maybe in earlier, but the problem is that I'm still busy with a question of Honourable
Don't
Kobe.
forget me, Chair.
I won't. Please, colleagues, I know everybody is got to fly home, but this is an important meeting and we've got to address this and give us the opportunity. May I also ask Joburg Water and the Mayor that you give your answers short and crisp, not this long stories about how you're addressing it. We really need to get to the gist of your problem and to address this problem. Can I ask you to speak on the question that the Honourable Kobe has asked, that your funding does not match your projects? Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee and Chairperson and the Mayor, together with the Minister. I think the question that was asked was in relation to the equitable share, which I believe that the MD has answered. It was linked to the indigent processes to say, what is the process in relation to us finding communities that it's unable to then make payments. So, and with the ESP program that we have as City of Johannesburg, we are encouraging the society to start registering so that we can be in a position to go to Treasury to request funds in the form of equitable shares so that we can match that mismatch that is there. We can only do that as we register the community members. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable Kobe.
Thank you, Chair. Definitely not satisfied with the response. There is a shortfall of 861 million currently, not even waiting for other people to register. How are they, when they are currently sitting at a shortfall, going to make up for this? And also, Chair, I think some of the responses that we are getting that we will resolve the issues as and when, it's not good enough, Chair. We are sitting in the situation because we don't have the ability to preempt, and we are asking, and our answers are as and when the situation arises. I'm sorry, but the mayor has been here for a year. And I know that this may seem unfair to him because the issues have been compounding for years. There's been years of underinvestment and neglect to these municipalities and the infrastructure. But it's not good enough to have answers that tell us that as and when the issue arises, then we are at a crisis level. If it's not in Westbury, then we have a situation in Bedfordview. If it's not, it's across the whole of the city of Johannesburg, and we can't have answers that don't tell me that we have a strategic long-term view to solve these issues. Please, can they answer in terms of the equitable share, because they're sitting currently at a deficit or shortfall of 861 million. Further to this, when they start resolving issues of illegal connections down the line, how are they then going to, while they have this issue right now between them and City of Johannesburg, how are they going to improve further if right now they're sitting at a deficit of or shortfall of 861 million? Thanks.
Thank you. Indeed, that was the question at the end of the day, is that I also need to get answers on. You've got currently a shortfall. It seems that your money has been swept out of Johannesburg Water, and that is the crux of the matter, is how you're going to pay your contractors if you don't have funds. You've appointed contractors, which you did not honor paying them, and that is the problem at the moment in Johannesburg, and we need to address it. And I want our colleagues to focus their question on how do we resolve that problem now, not what you're going to do and all the nice plans you have. We understand that, we acknowledge that, we are happy that you've got those plans, but you've got a crisis now, tomorrow, next week, and the next month. How are you going to address that problem? Can you answer the question, the shortfall that the honourable member has indicated? How are you addressing that shortfall?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The shortfall that the member is referring to is the shortfall that has been quantified around the free allocation of 0 to 6 kiloliter of 6 kiloliter for free across the board in the city of Johannesburg as a matter of policy. So this is an issue that we are currently as an entity engaging with the city group finance around really that portion being able to be covered by the city through equitable share. Because currently the first 6 kiloliter, we are covering it as an entity through our own financial means. On the issue of the stripping arrangement, Honorable Chair, the stripping arrangement, of course, this is how the city has been operating historically around funding the general operation of the city from the trading services, including general account of rates. So indeed, as part of the trading service reforms, we have acknowledged also that this needs to change, because as part of trading service reforms, the resources coming from water need to be ring-fenced and utilized mainly in water. So there is a discussion happening currently. There was a meeting 2 days back with Presidency, National Treasury, and the city to try and finalize the modality, or to try and finalize how is that going to be implemented in the city of Johannesburg. So the discussion is happening. From there, that will be formalized and be able to be taken through the governance structure for approval. Thanks.
Let's go on. I am going to ask...
Chair, can I just quickly take up from where the...
I'm already. Well, I'll come to you. I'll really come to you. Give me an opportunity to assist other members that's got other problems. Honorable Ramahila, can you quickly ask your questions before you get on your flight?
Thank you very much. I think from the onset, I must say this chaos in Johannesburg is as a result of the dereliction of duty, especially by the accounting officer, and obviously the executive authorities who do not apply the necessary oversight. I know Johannesburg Water has a backlog of 27 billion in terms of infrastructure development. And my question is, it goes both to Johannesburg Water and it goes to the municipality. Do you have capital replacement reserve? Those are my first question. And at what point is it having a positive balance now for both the municipality and the water entity? Secondly, is the water entity a going concern? Because the way it is, I am not even certain whether the entity might be able at any time be able to honor its obligations financially. For me, that's a very, very critical question. But also the contract, because the fact that Joburg Water has been appointed as a service provider probably was based on its ability, strength, both financial and technical. But in both of those two, by assumption, as I look at things now, Joburg Water is failing. And I don't see how Joburg Water is going to get out of these woods unless they explain their part very clear, very, very clear to us. But I would want also, Chair, the municipality to supply you with certain necessary information. To start with, their water master plan. And from the water master plan, we want them to supply us with their water services strategic plan. And after that, the water services development plan and the IDP. For me, these are very necessary. Chair, because of time, I'm now about to board. Thank you so far.
Thank you very much. Can I ask both Joburg Water and the mayor? The last question on the water plans, may I ask that Executive Mayor, that you provide the committee within the next 14 days with those 3 plans as requested. You can continue now with the answering of the questions.
Thanks, Chair. The question around our whether are we financially strong in terms of being able to invest and so on, I'm going to answer this way, Chair. If you look at slide 2 that we've provided, you'll be able to see that from the financial performance point of view, we are in a better position. And also, if you look at the slide number, the one that talks about the funding plan, which is slide number 37, you'll be able to see that if you look at the debt to revenue ratio, it's sitting at 19%, and National Treasury norm is 45%. So basically, if you look at the balance sheet for Johannesburg Water only as an entity, we can be able to raise resources in terms of getting resources for necessary capital investment required. You'll be able to see from our financial performance that we posted a net profit of 1.8 billion rand, which was even above target by 400 million. So as an entity, we can be able to raise resources. But however, currently under the current institutional arrangement, it is not like that. We can't be able to raise those resources as Johannesburg Water. It gets raised at the city level. So hence the reforms are required urgently so that we can be able, as an entity, be able to raise those resources on our balance sheet so that we can be able to have the necessary capital investment that is required. Thank you, Chair, and the documents will indeed provide.
Do you have any capital reserves at the moment? It seems not.
Sorry, Chair, the capital reserves is within the city because we are governed by group as a parent municipality. So all our reserves, because we've got a central treasury where they then go on the market to then raise investments or loans to be able to capitalize the entities. So the reserves are sitting with the city, Chair. Thanks.
Honorable Ramahila, are you satisfied?
Sure, thank you. I'm not satisfied. It's a requirement for them to have the capital replacement reserve. And if they have, what is the value? From that value, what is the percentage of water service in terms of replacement of an infrastructure plant and so on? That is not clear. But the Joburg Water also has got that responsibility. And this answer is not there. Maybe they should submit it in writing, Chair.
Thank you. That is a request that you submit us your reserves in writing with the other documents within 14 days. Is that fine with Joburg Water?
we will do so, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I am going to ask that we allow Honourable Makaula so that we can release the interpreter for the sitting of Parliament. Honourable Member, can you quickly ask your questions? And I really want to ask you to focus on this and ask short questions, because you've also have you have someone that needs to interpret what you are saying. So if you don't mind, I would ask you to be very short on this. Thank you. Makaula, you can continue.
Thank you, Chair. That's why I say kungcono ukuba besikumlomo nomlomo, because lento zama visual bezinkinga. Ngibonge Chair, nginibingelele Chairperson. Good morning Chairperson, nani Minister, njalo njalo. Okwami nje ngiyanizwa niyakhuluma, kimina angizwa kahle ingcaciso ngoba la i-concern yethu la ukuthi sazi ukuthi inkinga yabo yini eyenza befeyile ukuletha intuthuko kubantu, especially okusikhuluma ngamanzi, nokubheka ukuthi amasuwa pipe asebenza kahle, njengoba sikhala ngokuthi abantu abanawo amanzi, sikhala ngokuthi indle eGoli kakhulukazi ustika la ekwi-Joburg Municipality. I-Joburg Municipality ayisincedi ngalutho thina as Water and Sanitation Portfolio Committee. Ngithi naye uqobo Minister, I'm not think ukuthi she's happy about this municipality. eGoli abantu banenkinga yamanzi komndeni, lapha ngakoMethodist abantu abanawo amanzi phela inyanga manje. Mayifika itruck ifikela abantu abayifew, abanye abakwazi kwathola ogogo kanjalo njalo. 2, amapipe alapha ngiyabezwa lobekhala ngabantu abaconnecta kuma-meter njalo njalo. Laba bona babalekela ukuthi bona abafuni ukwenza umsebenzi wokunaka iJoburg yonke lapha abangaphansi kwayo. Imigwaqo yonke igcwele indle, ngangokuthi nje even izikole nezikole lana uthola ukuthi ngaphakathi siphuphuma indle, ufone bafike bayilungise, kugcineni amanzi ayoqhuma emzini yabantu. Mhlambe mangaqambamanga nje 5 imizi kunezithombe zayo, abantu bebehleli phakathi kuyindle. Umbuzo wami uthi yena-ke njengomeya uyakwazi ukuthatha imoto around abheke ukuthi abantu abaphethe noma abamkhetha ukuze ahlale kulesa sihlalo uvotelo izithini inkinga zabo? Sengigcina she okubhlungu kakhulu. Ngiyamuzwa bekhuluma nangalento yokufundwa meter reading. Lento ama-meter reading ngicela nje singayifaki la ngoba all over komasipala leyanto sebayinika amathenda avele aqasha abantu abangahambi befunda ama-meter house to house, bavele ba-estimate. Chair wami, ngiyabonga mina ukuthi sometimes usilethele laba bantu ababizwa ngokuthi ibona abaphethe umasipala waseJoburg. Ziningi izinkinga, and mina I can say ngale kokunanaza iJoburg umasipala wakhona ubafeyilile abantu kakhulu. Kuyimanje njengoba ngikhuluma nawe khona abangenawo ngisho ugesi, amanzi abanawo, ugesi abanawo, kodwa badla amaphilisi ofuna bafake efrijini, badlalo Eskom, kodwa ukhona. Ngiyamphikisa futhi mayethi uyaya emphakathini, uya ukwenza nama meeting. Ayikho i-meeting yenziwa lapha eJoburg. Joburg lonke linuka bhu indle. Ingane zesikole zijomba indle. Abantu emagcekeni abo banendle eqhumayo. And mabezoklina ubabizile bayilungisa manje uyabona seqhumela ka next door. Nakhona baklina benzi lutho. Yini inkinga na? Laba barelaya kakhulu kumathenda. Barelaya kakhulu kumavaterkane. Yilento ke thina ezogcina sinenkinga. And ngibuyele kule yamamafia. Le yamamafia mina nje ngeke nginanaze bayiphathi yawo ngoba ukuba bona bayifuna amamafia ngabe khona into esizwa ukuthi sebebaboshiwe babobophile njalo futhi nalaba abalimaza ingqalazi zinto fanele ngabe bayababopha so thina sifuna ukulalela lokho sifuna ukwazi ukuthi le nkinga eseJoburg izolungiswa kanjani lapha komndeni iJoburg yonke ibolile amanzi bayavala Friday bawavule Monday ekuseni basuke bethanda abaphile ngani lilonke nje mina ngifuna lo sinanazi iJoburg yasifeyila kakhulu uChairperson ngibonge nje ukuthi ugcina ususilethele bona futhi befuna ukuba sibanikeze izinsuku che ukuthi babuye bezositshela ukuthi inkinga yakhona yelungiseni i-infrastructure le abathi yavuza why bengayishintshi ngoba phela imali zikhona ziyaphuma ngiyabonga che.
Thank you very much. Can we get the translation? I thought it would be on the system, but I didn't pick it up.
Imigwaqo yonke igcwele indle. Mina usho ngabantu abakonkothayo yini angabafaka abantu endlini ngoba abantu bagcwele emjondolo nje ibona bafuna uallocate abantu izindlu zikhona.
Chairperson, good morning. Are you still with us?
Chairperson, we are muted.
No, I'm not speaking.
Yeah, but
Yes,
the
no one is
silence
speaking.
chair, what's your decision about translation?
They are giving the translation at the moment.
But we can't hear a thing if it's oral chair. Unless
Honorable Dicebe,
Minister Mahlobo.
Honorable
Minister
Dicebe,
Mahlobo.
apology. Honorable Makaola, just give us the opportunity to just deal with this issue. There is currently translation given. So can we maybe conclude that so that we can get the answers out of this? Joburg Water, do you want to comment on this? There was a question to the mayor about the sewage, and then the question why you are not delivering water, but I think we have addressed that. We are trying to address that at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, Honorable Passon and Honorable Makaula. I'll try and respond to the issues that the Honorable has asked, and perhaps we should put them into proper context. Part of what Joburg is faced with is pipe bursts. As you know, that the bulk of the pipe infrastructure, it's an old infrastructure called asbestos, and we're replacing, as and when we replace with the correct PVC. That's what we are doing. It will not be necessarily correct to suggest there's sewer everywhere in Johannesburg. There are certain pockets where we're experiencing burst as a result of the infrastructure that is under strain, and we do respond. The executive mayor, together with his councillors, from time to time, do conduct what is called oversight to see whether what's happening in our townships on infrastructure or any other issue that we normally conduct oversight. We've got Section 79 committees that constantly conduct oversight. So it would not be entirely correct to suggest that the executive mayor does not know what's happening in his communities, because we do go to the communities to conduct oversight. And it will also be incorrect to suggest that from time to time the executive mayor does not engage with these communities. We go through an IDP process where we go out throughout the length and the breadth of the city to engage in consultation. We also conduct public meetings as and when the particular issues that needs to be addressed with those particular communities. So it will not be correct to say so. Schools are not our function, but we do insist go in there when there's water issues or sewer issues. We do not even wait for the request from the department. If there's a sewer in a school, we do go, but you do know in terms of roles of the local government, we don't go into schools. It's not our function, but we are doing it even if there's no indication from the Department of Education. And over and above, we're also implementing boreholes program in the schools with an intention to reduce the water challenges, so that when water in the area is not available, the schools are not disrupted. It's a decision that was taken by the City of Johannesburg, and we are implementing that program in our schools. And it's also important to note from what the honorable member has raised, we have invested in the area of Westbury, Auckland Park, Coronation, in this budget, an amount of 800 million, with an intention to correct the bulk infrastructure in the whole of that area, so that into the future, those communities are not faced with water challenges moving forward. In Soweto, we are refurbishing 3 of the water reservoirs that has been damaged and which are old. I think some of them are around 50 years old or so, which requires to be refurbished. The project has started. We'll be concluding the project around June, July 2026, which will therefore reduce any form of interruptions in Soweto, because we'll have sufficient capacity to store the water in Soweto. And remember, the same community we're talking about is the deemed consumption area, where we are also dealing with issues of illegal connections and consumption which is not controlled. And we are also rolling out prepaid meters so that we can control that environment. So there's work that's being done to ensure that, particularly in Mdeni, Ward 130, which was affected by the fact that the reservoir in Chwabulani is not, it's leaking, it needs to be refurbished. So we've been providing water in that area through a bypass. And I can assure you, the communities there do have water as we speak. There are challenges there and there. And as and when there's challenges, we also do a lot of throttling to control and balance the system in the area, but we do ensure that there's no water challenges in our townships. So hopefully, where there's challenges, we are alerted and we do respond to those challenges. So I thought I should respond to Honorable Makaula on the issues that he has raised.
Thank you very much. Honorable Makaula, that was the responses. Okay, it seems she's not going to respond. Can I go to the next person, Honorable Ledlanga? And then after Honorable Ditebe and then Honorable Moore.
No, thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, the leadership from Johannesburg, and all those who were invited. I think for me, this is a very crucial meeting, Chair. That doesn't need us to shout to the problem, but to find ways on how to deal with the water crisis in Johannesburg. I'm covered by a number of honorable members when they raised some questions. But to me, the elephant in the room is the question of the non-revenue water and infrastructure backlog. That's what I think the focus should be. The only question I'm going to ask, Chair, in the interest of time, is that when the Joburg mayor was responding, he said that at times their message can't reach the people. I think that this is an important platform that maybe he can use, given that water is crucial for life, for economic productivity and ecological sustainability. And the people in general just need water. What is a key or an important announcement or a commitment that you can make today to the people of Johannesburg? Thank you so much, Honorable Chair.
The Mayor?
Well, thank you, Honorable Mluleki. You are correct that we have to intensify and use all other platforms to help us with communication whenever we have challenges, and also communicate our plans, which I think some of these platforms, including the committee, might be a good platform for us to communicate. But I thought it is also important to add, Honorable Mluleki, that on a daily basis, we're implementing what we call a high-impact service delivery programs in all our regions. We target particular regions on a weekly basis, and we are there on a day-to-day. And it helps us to identify infrastructure failures, service delivery failures, and we immediately implement and respond. And you'll see that in our daily communication, whether it's our Facebook, it's our newsletter, it's Instagram, we do communicate the interventions that we are doing. I think you would add if there's any element I've missed on Honorable Mluleki, which is actually helping us to enhance our communication.
Nothing to add. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
That is the response, Honorable Ditebe. Delanga.
It's fine, I'm covered, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Ditebe. Honorable Ditebe, I wonder whether he has not fallen off. Let's then go to Honorable Moore.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Madam Minister and your team. to the DG and his team, to the Executive Mayor of Joburg and the Rand Water team, as well as, Joburg Water team, as well as the CE of Rand Water and your team. Chairperson, the presentation from Joburg Water is quite extensive and it answers a lot of the technical questions I had. I'm going to need to report back to my communities on that, a lot of the plans for the vulnerable areas technically. But I want to focus my question specifically to the Mayor of Johannesburg. Mr. Mayor, media reports, including referencing your own comments, refer to an amount of 4 billion rand that was taken from Johannesburg Water at this critical time when the city is facing a water crisis. Please, can you elaborate on why it was taken from Joburg Water at this time, and specifically what other expenses were deemed more important than communities without water for weeks at a time? I would also appreciate to understand under what mechanism the money was reallocated and whether this was part of a budget adjustment. And just for clarity's sake, I know your spokesperson said there was not 4 billion, but in the presentation by Joburg Water, if we look at the cash on hand, there's certainly, I think it's page 4, there's an amount of 4 billion. Then to my second question, Chair, and I want to actually quote from Joburg Water's annual report for 2023-2024. It goes, the city implemented cash flow restrictions, which impacted the entity's ability to settle creditors on time. As of 30 June 2024, creditors totaling 1.1 billion were not paid due to these restrictions. Mr. Mayor, this cash flow restriction has had a direct impact on communities. And I want to say including the commando system, where the Brixton Tower and Reservoir project were all due to complete in April. And it is now, and now I believe they've been moved out to the end of this month. But I was actually on site at the end of August, and they say they've been failed to be paid again. So they've downed tools again. So this critical project that is aimed at assisting the commando system is down again. Why are there currently problems in the city of Johannesburg with paying contractors? And is this directly linked to the money taken away from Joburg Water's accounts? And I understand that a partial payment on this item has now been made, but that doesn't account for why they weren't paid in the first place. And then finally, Chairperson, Mr. Mayor, I've looked through Joburg Water's plans to turn the situation around. And I'm confident that given the resources, Johannesburg Water is capable of addressing this crisis. However, looking at the medium-term budget framework for the next 3 years, the allocation is insufficient to turn around the city's problems in the short term. And plans of a massive budget in the future are the types of weak promises that South Africans have learned have very little substance in reality. Less than 2 billion rand is allocated a year for the next 3 years, while the entity needs around 3.2 billion rand a year in order to start rectifying the neglect. In fact, in the current year, the budget is only around 1.7 billion, which is an increase from 1.2 billion, but it shows how little priority this issue has had historically. And even now, it's barely more than half of what is required to actually turn around the issue. In order to properly maintain the city's 12,000 kilometers of water reticulation, one needs to be repairing between 240 kilometers and 300 kilometers of pipes every single year. In the current budget, you're only intending to replace 85 kilometers of pipeline. That's less than half of what is needed. So, Mr. Mayor, can you please explain whether you believe this plan will really assist with getting Johannesburg out of the crisis, or whether this plan is similar to your promises to the community of the commando system of a permanent solution within a week, and now that that time is up, you're going to come back and say that there's going to need more time, more promises. Thank you, Chair.
Executive Mayor.
Thank you for the questions. And I thought the question on the sweeping accounts was responded to earlier. But let me respond so that this question is clearly understood. And it may mean that we'd have to share with honorable members the inception of local government and what were the assumptions on how local government, especially metros, will be funded. So there are three sources that had been an assumption of how metros will be funded. One, it's been on the surpluses of water and electricity sales, and of course, of waste collection. And the second part would have been on rates and taxes, or collection of rates and taxes. And the last part would have been on grants and loans. And that was an assumption when local government was established in as far as metros are concerned. And we do know that over time, those surpluses has shrinked and they've been diminished. We had enough fat over the years, and we never had issues in terms of investing in infrastructure. And that is why in 2015, we declared a 100 billion infrastructure investment program, which of course was disrupted in 2016. And I think that truth has also had to be told. And as a result, we could no longer continue with that 100 billion investment program into infrastructure, because we were alive to the fact that infrastructure in Johannesburg is aged and infrastructure requires to be replaced and be refurbished. Now, with the service entities reforms that we have entered into with National Treasury, they are beginning to rearrange how we are financing entities and how we are financing infrastructure in the Metro of Johannesburg. And part of what we are saying is to begin to reinvest a certain percentage of what we collect into those entities, which is water, electricity, and our waste company. So we are doing that. Unfortunately, as it stands now, all the money that comes into the city has to come into a central account, and every entity will be allocated as per the budget that we have passed. So those are the things that we're reforming, and probably towards the end of the next financial year, we'll have a different model on how we now ring-fence that money for entities, which is something that is going to happen sooner so that we can deal with that issue. Now, the honorable member also raises the questions around our plan being watertight in terms of the water department. Yes, it's true. We've got a clear plan. We've got a clear blueprint that is going to help us how we turn around the investment into water infrastructure. At current, we can only afford to implement what we have presented to you. And we have also went out into the market to also raise an additional amount, because our plan says at least on an annual basis, we should be sitting at 3 billion for us to deal with some of the challenges. So the shortfall, therefore, will have to raise through the city and go to the financial markets to try and raise the shortfall to deal with the problem that we have. And I think even in this financial year, we've already raised about 500 million in the financial markets to help as an additional amount to deal with the water reservoirs and any other infrastructure challenges that we have. So we are doing work in that instance to try and respond to the member, Honorable Moore. But it is also important to note, Honorable Moore, that going into communities, and I think I responded to the question, we have a responsibility as leadership to give hope and clear responses to our communities. And we said to them, even in yesterday's meeting, we've agreed with communities in Westbury and Coronation, we can set up a team that will work with us and Joburg Water to ensure that we walk the journey together in resolving the current problems that they are having in terms of water supply. And of course, it's a historical issue that we have had on infrastructure. So I think I've responded to the questions as asked by the honorable member that we are doing. Let me deal with the matter in terms of our contractors and suppliers. The city has an obligation to at least collect just over 5 billion. We know that once we have collected just around 5.5, 5.6 billion, it means we are at a better situation on a monthly basis, meaning that we're at 90% collection rate. But over the time, it has been very stubborn. We don't have a consistent 90% collection rate. And we're also alive to the fact that this could also be part of the problems that we have economically, with the economy not responding and with a lot of people who might have lost their jobs. And as a result of that, our collection rate has been hovering between 86 and 87%. We're lucky if that particular month it has gone to 90%, like in July, we're able to collect to a tune of about 93%. Therefore, our cash flow, that situation has an impact in as far as our cash flow, and it therefore means we're unable to pay all our contractors on time. And that is something that we've been working it through to try and resolve it. We've got a war room that sits on Sundays, every Sundays, to determine how best we can deal with payment of our suppliers. But we've also alive to the fact that our expenditure has actually exceeded our income, and it's something that we're dealing with so that we can align our income to our expenditure. And in that way, we'll be able to once and for all manage the environment of payment of our contractors throughout the city. But we are working very well with our contractors. As and when there are challenges, we do engage with them. Unfortunately, others may have challenges of cash flow themselves and be unable to carry their work whilst we are not paying them on time. So we've agreed that we'll ensure that we stabilize that environment, especially on key projects that the city is implementing, whether it's water, electricity, or rather general infrastructure projects, so that we are not faced with stoppage of work by contractors. I think I've responded.
Yeah. Honorable Moore, that was the responses. Do you want to speak on that?
Yes, Chairperson. I very much do. And I also want to say, Chairperson, and I'd like to talk to our minister, the deputy ministers and the DG, the leadership of the department. I am wholly unsatisfied with the responses. I asked about the sweeping account, which I was told was already answered. And then the mayor proceeded to not answer what was done with the money from the sweeping account. Then I asked specifically about the lack of payment to contractors, which the mayor says he's working with the contractors, but doesn't actually address the fact that the city is not allowing contractors to be paid, digging us into a worse situation. He talks about pushing level 1 water restrictions. Those water restrictions have been in place for over a decade, Honorable Chair, Madam Minister. I think 2 decades even. So there's nothing new. I'm hearing a lot of the same thing, the same lack of resources to actually address this challenge. And I want to say further, Chairperson, the mayor did address the summer heat that is coming. Demand, Madam Minister, as you are well aware, is going to rise with summer heat. And at the moment, Joburg Water are doing an admirable job of trying to throttle and balance water to keep water in the taps for our communities. But even now, they're not succeeding. And it's only going to get hotter in Gauteng, which means that there's going to be less water, higher demand, and less the same amount of supply. More people are going to be without water. The communities like Westbury and Coronationville and Sophia Town and Ebony Park and Bruma and Berea, and I can go on, are going to go without water again, Chairperson. And I was really hoping for a crisis commitment of effort and, most importantly, resources to deal with this project. One has to question, Chairperson, what problems exist in the background that are preventing the city from actually tackling this crisis properly, and whether the right hands are on the wheel to handle this crisis, to survive this storm. Thank you, Chairperson.
Can we get a response on that?
No, I think Honorable Moore The questions that were asked were responded to. Perhaps they were not responded to in the fashion that we'd have expected them to be. Let me explain once more the issue around Brixton. We are opening the reservoir at the end of October, which will be providing us between 24 to 26 megaliters in an attempt to try and resolve the issue. Two, you continue to ask a question on the 4 billion. The answer is the money comes into the central account of the city and is used for all intents and purposes of what the city has to account to. Three, the challenges that we've had of infrastructure. If you want us to go into history, one will do so, because in 2015, we declared, in 2012, in fact, declared a 100 billion infrastructure program. And that infrastructure program was then disrupted in 2016. And the intention of that infrastructure program was to ensure that we respond to the aging infrastructure. Johannesburg is a city that was built in 1886, and part of its infrastructure is way old, and it requires investment into refurbishment. And that's exactly what this leadership is currently doing, looking at possible investments into the infrastructure, including also going out into the market to borrow so that we can invest in the infrastructure. So there's work that's being done by this city to respond. Otherwise, you would not have seen water reservoirs and towers being built in Johannesburg unless we're not serious about responding to this matter. In Soweto, we are refurbishing the 3 water reservoirs that are already damaged and old, that require an investment. We've put money, we've put resources. By end of June, we'd have completed that work. We're putting money into pipe replacement. Yes, it's not at the extent at which we want it to be, because the resources that are there, they're limited, and there are competing interests within the city. The same way we're also trying to reinvest into replacements of power stations. So we have to balance the money that we have and distribute to an extent at which the city can respond to the whole infrastructure challenges that we have. So we are doing that work, Honorable Moore, to respond to those challenges. So I thought I should respond in that fashion and to assure you, in fact, that we are responding to the challenges. Tomorrow, we're also engaging stakeholders, and it's important to know that communities are stakeholders, and we've got a responsibility to engage them on the issues that affect them. And that is why today we're also in Kensington, which also affects the area that we have spoken to around Bruma, which is 118, Ward 118, and we are responding to their challenges on water supply. And it does not mean that the city is just sitting on their laurels. We are intervening. Yes, we do admit where there's financial challenges, there are challenges, but we are doing our level best to balance the competing interests in the city. We have set the 3 areas that we need to protect, which is also protection of revenue. It's water business, it's our electricity business, and it's our waste collection business, because those are revenue generating entities. And for us, they're important for us to invest in those. That is why if you look at our budget, 2024 to 2025, 2026, you'll see that the bulk of our budget or our money in terms of capital expenditure goes to these 3 entities with an intention to turn around, of course, with JRA being included as part of the infrastructure entities, the Johannesburg Roads agencies. So I thought I should respond in that fashion to Honorable Member Moore. And we've also increased, Chair, our maintenance budget, which moved from an average of about 4 to 5%, has now been pushed right up to almost 7.5%, and with an ambition of increasing it with another percentage point in the next financial year. Thank you, Chair.
I've got a concern on the way you've answered your question, because what you are saying is the money goes into the pot and we utilize the money for what the city needs it for. However, there is a budget that you have put up. You've just mentioned now you have increased your maintenance budget, but that maintenance budget does not mean you've got the money. You are not funding your budget because you're utilizing, in your own words, you're utilizing that money for something else. I want to ask you, and you must give me an exact time when this will happen. When will you ring fence the income of water? When will that be happening? Can you answer me that? And then secondly, when will you resolve, by what date will your contractors that's not been paid so that they can continue with the work be paid? Can you answer me that directly and give me dates and a time frame when that will happen?
Honorable Member and Honorable Chair, in as far as the program we are doing on the reforms of the service entities, the program has started, the engagements are continuing, and at a point where ourselves and National Treasury deal with all the issues related to that, we'll then be able to confirm at what date the actual implementation and in which budget cycle that implementation will be confirmed. So there is work that's being done between ourselves and National Treasury, and once that work has been done, a proper announcement will be made as to how we are now going to ring-fence the percentages that needs to be ring-fenced to be reinvested into the entities. In terms of payment of contractors, we are doing that. We will check at this point how many are outstanding, especially on critical projects with Joe Water, and then we'll then prioritize those as we pay them. So this is how we do our payments in the city. We first start with the end of the month. We look at salaries, we look at medical aid, and we pay those. And then we go to our bulk purchases, which is our next step of the cash flow, so that we pay for electricity, water, which is Eskom, rent water. And then the next part, we then deal with payment of contractors. And on Sundays, we meet to look at the age analysis of the payment or what is outstanding. And then we then do the payments of entities. We will go back and look what is the pressure point at Johannesburg Water and prioritize those so that we can we can pay them immediately.
Yeah, I'm really not satisfied with your response. So that means that contractors will stand last in the row. It doesn't matter whether they go bankrupt, because you are not prioritizing them. You've signed a contract with them. You will pay them within 30 days or when they give their letter. But then you take a decision as the mayor and the municipality or the metro to pay them when you've got cash. That is unacceptable. And I will ask National Treasury and the Auditor General to investigate this, because you are setting up contractors for failure that you have appointed. You have still not answered me on the 4 billion that you have taken. When are you going to pay that back? And surely, with the crisis you have, it is a council resolution. Honourable Member, I've been a councillor for 18 and a half years in a municipality. I know how it works. You take that to your council, you ring fence that. It is not rocket science. You are not serious about the problem of the water in Johannesburg. And you need to come out clear how you're going to deal with it. I want dates from you. Don't tell me you're going to do it in future. I want to know, when are you going to do this? When are you going to ring fence the money for water so that the community can get water in their pipes? That is what you need to answer me now.
Okay.
You can continue answering me.
Noted the fact that, honorable member, the responses we give to you seems not to be giving you the answers that we have. We suggest that what we're saying probably is not helping you at all. And if it's not helping you as the chair of the committee, there's no any answer you could extract beyond what we have given you. Now,
Mayor,
I will agree
my
with
apology,
you.
Mayor,
No,
my apology.
allow me,
Mayor,
Chair, to conclude.
I will allow
because-
you.
Chair.
No,
Mayor,
allow me to conclude.
Mayor, I'm requesting you to give me a
No, Chair, you have asked me
No,
a
don't.
question.
Mayor, we're not going to play. Don't play with us.
He can't respect you as a chairperson. He
Mayor,
must answer the question.
Honorable Mayor, I've asked you questions directly. Don't waffle your answers. I will summons you to Parliament if that is what you want. And I want community of Johannesburg, and you need to come clear on this. You can continue now.
Thank you, Chair. Let me indicate that the ring-fencing, as I said, will be implemented in a pace and scale that the city can afford. And that is part of our process we are doing with the reforms of entities. So at that pace, we will continue to do the ring-fencing. So we'll implement it in a pace and scale that the city can afford. And I suppose that should be able to answer your question on when are we going to ring-fence the money that should be ring-fencing for entities. And that is not only for the water reforms, it includes the electricity infrastructure reforms and the waste management reforms. And that's what we are doing, Honorable Member.
I'm not satisfied, but we'll take this further. Honorable Dictebe, you were also asking questions or would like to ask a question?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning to you, Minister, Deputy Ministers, the Executive Mayor, and Water, management, everyone, colleagues on the platform. Chairperson, of the figures that have been listed in the presentation of Johannesburg Water, respect of metering, I'd like to know whether all those amounts that have been listed for purposes of procurement and the times have been there in 25, 26, whether those funds are indeed available for that to be carried out. And just in terms of the trading services reforms, and in relation to the point that the DG made earlier, and this you have referenced with regards to the alleged 4 billion rand that's been taken out of Joburg Water, whether there actually is any time frame, Executive Mayor, within which the gradual phasing in of the ring fencing of proceeds from trading services can be achieved. But just to say lastly, Chairperson, I have shared in the WhatsApp group of the Portfolio Committee. I see that the Mayor, Executive Mayor, will be having a meeting with the Water Crisis Committee that represents residents in Observatory, Kensington, and other areas. Earlier on, Honorable Kaula suggested that there was no engagement between the Office of the Executive Mayor and residents. I must say, having seen that, and I've shared it for colleagues to cite it, it is indeed commendable because it means that the executive Office of the Executive Mayor or the Executive Mayor goes beyond mere statutory bodies like your ward committees in engaging with citizens. But I think it is important, Chairperson, just to conclude, going back to the point that I raised, I can see that the executive mayor is rather loath to commit to a time period, but I think in terms of the SMART principle, notwithstanding the challenges, and we do know that there are a number of financial constraints, I think it will be best if they could say within a specific period of time in the short, medium to long term, we will be able to phase in so much percentage of the ring fencing of proceeds from trading services. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Rand. Joburg Water.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chairman. And clearly, what we're saying, we agree with you. Currently, with the program, as we said, on the reforms with National Treasury, the plan is by the end of this financial year, we should see the implementation of ring-fencing of the resources for the trading entities. But it is also important to note the important emphasis that I've made earlier, that this will be at the pace and scale that the city can afford, understanding that we need to do a balancing act in view of other needs or competing needs that the city needs to provide for. So with National Treasury, we are aiming that by the end of this financial year, which is June 2026, we should have started with the implementation of ring-fencing, the percentages that needs to be ring-fenced and be reinvested into the water infrastructure. So that's what we're trying to do, Honorable Ditebe, and at the right point, we'll be giving feedback to the committee on how far are we and the work that we are doing. And I suppose even National Treasury will be helping us and guiding us on how we should be doing this work. So that's where we are, Honorable Ditebe.
Honorable Ditebe.
Chairperson, thank you very much, Executive Mayor, for the response. Just in terms again of the document that you shared with us, I think of the 7 interventions that you've listed, one of them clearly is the water tankering, and I hope that you agree with the committee that that is not a permanent solution. Alongside the repair of the reservoirs and all other related infrastructure, how long do you give yourself to then phase out the water tankering? Because I think we are all agreed that it is not a sustainable solution to the challenges we have. Knowing in particular, Chairperson, that phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project will only be completed in 2029 thereabout, and Gauteng being the major beneficiary of that project, certainly the entire strategy on the part of the city must be pursued with a laser beam focus so that all other important elements of it can be realized. Just on the water tankering issue, Chairperson, as a follow-up among the interventions that have been listed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I've requested the CEO just to respond on the water tankers.
Thank you, Honorable. The water tanker, certainly, we fully agree with the committee that it doesn't support to be a permanent solution. Indeed, we are using it when we have challenges. And our expectation is that as the demand goes down, we should be having no water tanker in the area where there are reticulation, except of course, whenever we are doing emergency repairs. And our aim is that come end of this financial year, we should already be at about 1,600 megaliters. So we should have cut another 100 megaliters. And we believe that once we get to that point, the system should be able to cope. But of course, our aim is still to target 1,550. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Honorable Deputy Minister, your hand was up before I go to Honorable Reddy. Did you want to respond to something? Honorable
Maybe let's come towards before you close and before you hand over to the minister. Let me do that, leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Reddy. Honorable Reddy. It seems Honorable Reddy is already on another meeting. Colleagues, yeah, I think we have exhausted our time. Is there any other member that would like to ask urgently a further question before I hand over to the Minister? Any other member?
Emina, Chair.
Honorable, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson. Ukuthi kuhlupha network. Hey, mina Chair, I'm not satisfied. Angifuna ukukhohlisa. Umeya uyagcuma, akafuna ukusinikeza impendulo ezi-right. Njengalento location nje ombuza wona ka-40 billion ukuthi uzokhokha kanjani akafuni. And enye into ofuna ngiyilungise, angishongo ukuthi ey'koleni kunendle, ngithena eduze kwey'kole emgwaqweni kunendle eqhumayo iy'ngane zesikole ey'hamba khona. And nale muzi yabantu ephakathi kuyindle. Akafuni ukuphendula. 2, uyakubalekela ukuthi amanzi awekho laphayana. Ayavalwa Friday, avulwe Monday. Manje umuntu onje awukwazi uzomsiza ngoba yena ngokwakhe uzimisele yena ukuthi yena atshele thina, akhohle ukuthi thina siphansi kwi-ground, thina esihamba phansi kubantu. Like njengami mina i-constituency yami iseGoli. And I'm not thinking ukuthi ngavele ngikhulume nje into engekho. And lezi zinto engikhuluma ngazo Chairperson nginazo nezithombe zakhe, ngathatha ayoyibheka. La manzi wabona emgwaqweni masiwalandela uthola lendle iqhuma phakathi emzini nomuntu. La manzi engithi awekho yinkinga mina engibhekana nazo lapha eGoli. Umeya akayeke ukucasha ngesithupha. And okwesibili ngiyithande nangendlela uChair athi mayimbuza iquestion aphendule ngayo. Ngiyabonga.
Yeah, now there is no translator. Honorable Mthlobo, you are a very good translator. Can you maybe translate that, please?
No, thanks, Chairperson. Honorable Member Makaula. She was just trying to indicate that she's not happy or satisfied by some of the responses His Worship, our Mayor, has given, especially the challenges of water that are affecting public facilities like the schools. And she wants to indicate that themselves as parliamentarians, they understand the situation much better. They are on the ground understanding the issues that citizens are raising. And she feels that strongly that some of the responses given by the executive mayor on the issues we have raised, they are not adequate. In her view, the mayor is actually not responding adequately. And lastly, she wanted to indicate her displeasure the manner in which the executive mayor has responded to you, or actually that's the essence of what she has said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Deputy Minister, Honorable Kegakilwe.
Thank you, Chairperson. Really, things are not going on well in the city of Joburg. But then I've asked both the city, the Joburg Water and the Rand Water as to what is it that they want the portfolio committee to assist them with. Because the report is there. The report does not show what is exactly happening on the ground. So they just said, no, we want to be supported. Supported with what? They must be specific, maybe in future, or they must give a written request for such a support. And the issue again of the GNR resolutions, I asked the question, and then I was told they are implementing. Chairperson, if you look at those resolutions, if those resolutions are implemented, the city is not supposed to be where it is. But I just want to ask the mayor if there are any challenges with the implementation of their resolutions. Thank you, Chair.
Executive Mayor.
Yeah, no, the CEO will come in there.
Thanks, honorable members. In terms of the implementation of the resolution, I can confirm, honorable members, that we are implementing the resolutions. In fact, if you look at our slides that are talking to the water conservation, water demand management, which is slide 8 and 9, it is slides that are talking to the resolutions that were taken around issues relating to taking the demand down. And it is those interventions that assisted us to move from 1,800 to 1,700 a year later. And we believe if we carry on implementing them, we are going to end up at the right level, which we require, which is 1,500. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honorable Moore.
Thank you, Chair. We've had presentations from a number of people today, and I'd like to actually implore the Minister now. Now we need your intervention. You've heard that it's not just from the DA or the EFF, you've heard ANC members across the entire committee. There is concern around this. When a mayor is not taking action, we as Parliament need to act, and residents demanded of us as parliamentarians, what are you doing? So I appeal to you, Minister, please do not fail us and the residents of Johannesburg. We need action on this issue. Thank you.
That was a comment made. Honorable Dictebe.
Chairperson, just with regards to the USDG, both for last year and the current year, how much is available to the City of Johannesburg? And in terms of the capital infrastructure budget, how are they taking care of that? I hope the answer will then shed some light on some of the questions that have been raised, and maybe certain specifics may have not been coming from the side of the mayor and his team. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want lastly just to see Honorable Reddy. Are you still on here and still need to ask a question? He's either got a connection problem or he's in another meeting. Minister, Deputy Minister, would you just want to respond to the two pleads that was given and the one question by Honorable Dictebe?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Let me thank all the honorable members for all their contribution. The main purpose here is to check where can municipality be assisted. Noting what Honorable Moore have said, that I must not fail the resident of Johannesburg. I don't know the how part. First and foremost, municipalities don't account to me. Municipalities are an independent sphere. What we do is to assist where we can in terms of regulation, in terms of monitoring municipalities, because we have Rand Water, who is working very well with municipalities. I was going to intervene immediately if it was said by municipality. Our challenge is Rand Water, hence we are here. Well, we've been working with this municipality very well, I must say. As Chair, on your side, I want to really thank you, because the approach of this meeting is to say, as Mama Makaula was saying, sizosebenza kanjani, sinisize kuphi? Where do you expect our support as a portfolio committee? That was the question that was also asked by Honorable Getlhakile. The issue of stakeholder communication and engagement, it's what I hear most from members, that let's communicate and communicate. As you said, that a community don't expect us to communicate the good thing. That's what Honorable Reddy also said. Let's improve on communication. And I fully agree with you. To plan on closing the leaks, I think what we may say is that let the office of the mayor working with Johannesburg Water to give us a clear plan in terms of time frames that are around within 3, 6, 12, 18 months. This is what we are planning to do in terms of closing the leaks. We've managed to know how many leaks we have, where are they, and we are taking this plan. Disconnecting illegal connections, they started and they since lowered the pace. So improve that pace and also give us a clear plan where are these areas where there are illegal leaks, but illegal connections, but also that the mayor and the council have a clear plan on taking the informal settlements out of the main grid and develop or drill the boreholes. They must just give us a clear time frame so that we can be able to assist them in terms of monitoring that. In sourcing, I think the report from the mayor that they've already procured 20 water tankers and they are procuring more is not that they don't want to attend to infrastructure. That was my understanding when they briefed us. They've done that because we've called for insourcing, so that when there's a challenge, whether they're doing maintenance or there's a pipe burst, they must not go out to private tankers. They must be able to provide water immediately. And to me, that is a positive sign of saying they want to attend to this. They are not bringing those tankers because they don't want to attend to infrastructure. There is a plan on increasing the capacity of reservoirs or building more reservoirs. I think they are going to build about 17 reservoirs. We just need a plan where and when, because that is a drastic step that municipality is taking. The ring fencing, Chair, of the water sales to be invested back to water infrastructure. And even on that, I just want to request that let the committee and ourselves as department be furnished with that. So if we can go through these points, Chair, maybe and other points that were raised in the portfolio committee, we'll be able to assist municipalities, this municipality of City of Johannesburg. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. DG, there was a question on funding. Can you maybe give us an answer on that?
I missed that question, Chair. What was the question on funding?
Is there any funding available within the department, any funding that we can assist Johannesburg Water with?
No, Chairperson, there isn't. In terms of the Division of Revenue Act, Metropolitan municipalities are funded through the Department of Human Settlements for the water and sanitation function through the Urban Settlements Development Grant. We don't get any money as DWS nor does COGTA to give to municipalities for water infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Deputy Minister Mahlobo.
Chairperson, I will ask to close my mic. I'm in the car now. Just to thank Comrade Minister Majedina, DMC Tulu, yourselves, and our mayor and all MPs. I think, Chairperson, we must commend you as a portfolio committee for taking this engagement, because the cries of the people must never be ignored. But equally, Chairperson, we should be in a position to know that, like Minister says, at a level of political level and governance level, there is a lot of coordination between national government, the provincial government, and the City of Johannesburg. And that governance minister still takes ongoing meetings, the MEC in Gauteng every Wednesday. Like what Honorable Reddy was saying, Rand Water and the City and Joburg Water Chair, they are managing that system of Johannesburg on daily basis. They meet. That's why you could see the report presented by the Group CE of Rand Water and the Joburg Water. There is a correlation. But members, we have to appreciate that the damage that has happened in many metros around infrastructure is going to take time. That's why that system must be managed on daily basis. It remains vulnerable. One of the things that our mayor, we must commend him, was to stabilize the issue of redundancy around electricity. Remember last year around this time, the issues of electricity, including affecting Rand Water, were the biggest issues. At least that matter now has been resolved. The plan they've produced and the thing that ministers have said, attend to non-revenue water, attend to leaks, attend to illegal connections. Honorable Moore is correct. That plan, Chairperson, is credible, technically credible, and is one of the best plans. Because that plan, when they did, they never finalized the plan alone. They work with the department, the ministry, the DG, including the experts that were actually working in the city of Cape Town. All these experts are there. There's something that we've developed working through the DG and the leadership of the minister. The water secure partnership for Gauteng is the best mechanism we've put in them. One of the things that we need to attend to, like you're absolutely correct, is the funding. The funding of this plan. The mayor has done well, but our appeal is to say, Mayor, you need to do more. Remember, in terms of revenue collection, just from water sales, they are getting close to 18 billion rands. And a lot of this money actually is being invested, but then it goes to the central point, like we're saying. Therefore, let's support the mayor around the issues with National Treasury of ring fencing. But the financial turnaround for Johannesburg, other spending centers, are causing the problem, Executive Mayor, that it actually becoming a guzzler in terms of these resources. But I'm very content that the issues of doing that particular matter is important. The issue that we must manage is the issue that Honorable Pasoni are raising, that those intervention ministers she has set of more than 50% of the reservoirs to create that additional capacity. I know Minister went to see some of these reservoirs. The more the reservoirs are actually functional, and then the more the non-revenue water is being reduced, we'll be able to do that. The last point, Chairperson, is the issue of communication. Communication, I think, is one of the issues that all of us, we need to be able to do that. Probably the leadership of Gauteng, including the structure that Minister and the Premier chairs, we must be able to open up something called water committees. So at least communities are not actually in the dark when most of these particular issues are being taken into account. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, we have already been half an hour or 35 minutes past our time. Thank you for staying on this meeting to get to the gist of the problem. I just would like, as a chairperson of this committee, just say to Joburg Water and to the mayor, this is not personal, but this is a decision that the committee's got to take on behalf of the community. Don't see this as personal against an individual. We are fighting for the same people. And time is of essence in how we get there. So what I want to request from the executive mayor to speed up their process of ring fencing this money. If you need some assistance, then speak to this committee so that we can get the necessary role players together. Water is life, and people out there need their constitutional right that they can have water and utilize the water. So the request from the committee side is that you speed up the process. We will engage with you in person in the near future. We will assess the answers and your documentation. I would also then like you to send us the outstanding contractors on water, the outstanding amount, and a time schedule of payment. If you can forward that within the next 14 days to the committee, so that we can make an assessment and then invite you back to this committee to see how we can resolve this matter, whether there is any progress. It is our task to do oversight in the water sector, and we take this very seriously, that we are spending 53 billion on phase 2 of the on Lesotho, which is a huge project for the Department of Water and Sanitation and the country, and we cannot allow that there is a slip from the metros not supporting people with water. So that said, colleagues, thank you very much for attending this meeting, and we will meet each other soon concerning this matter again. I don't think this is the end of this discussions. We've got a better understanding where we are, whether it's positive or negative, but we will communicate with the City of Johannesburg and Rand Water, or Rand Water as well as Joburg Water, and we will come back and respond on a later stage. Thank you for the meeting today, and this meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. We appreciate, Chair. Thank you very much. And honorable
Thank
members, thank you.
you, Chair, but it doesn't give me answer, but those stove.
Sawubona Makaula. Sawubona, love you.
Hello, Mr.
Ngiyakhumbula.
Hey, now
Kwakuza
nesithando
mina
sami
ngizokuphendula. Mfuza wena mnganami.
Love you, Bake.
Siyabonga ma. Thank you so much.